See. Hi, everyone. I'm here. With full apologies. Bad Allen. Very, very, very poor planning. And is this thing even working? Whoop, there we go. Yeah, full apologies. Bad planning on my part. Silly me to think it would take me 45 minutes on the good old Kennedy Expressway in Chicago to get back to where I'm stationed at my good buddy's house. And when it wound up taking an hour and a half. So that's on me. That's my bad. Again, I massively apologize. Appreciate everybody hanging out. And we're going to get started here in a second. And I'll be joined very shortly by Deputy Editor for Miami Dolphins on SI, Dante Collinelli. We're going to be talking Miami Dolphins preseason opener against the Chicago Bears. Something you don't see very often. In fact, if I recall the note correctly, it happened since 1982. The Dolphins preseason opener ended in a tie. As always, of course, when we're talking about the preseason, final score doesn't matter. What matters is what happened, what we saw, who played well, who didn't. And I guess this is the part where I should immediately discuss the injury updates, because we saw two Dolphin players leave the game because of injuries. Those two players being safety Elijah Campbell, running back Alexander Mattison. The Alexander Mattison injury, Mike McDaniel said after the game he was dealing with neck and shoulder soreness. And if you saw what happened on the play, basically he got kind of tossed up in the air and landed on his head. As we say hi to Dante Collinelli. And I have to apologize to Dante as well, because Dante's been waiting. He's been ready to go at 6, probably thinking, where the hell is that bozo who said p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time? Fighting the streets of Chicago. That's what he was doing. Hey, Dante. Give me your overall thought. We'll start with this. Give me your overall thoughts on this game this afternoon.
Yeah, it was roughly what I expected. I don't know that I expected a tie. I don't know that you ever expect a tie, but insofar as, it was your very stereotypical preseason game, right? Like when the Dolphins starters were in, the defense had a couple quick 3-and-outs. The offense went right down the field. Obviously, they didn't score on that opening drive, but went right down the field, smooth operation. We can talk about the goal line stuff if we want to. And then the backups came in for, the Dolphins, and the Bears got into their third and fourth string, and things started to get a lot less productive, a little bit wacky there at the end as well. That, Ollie Gordon he got a lot farther than I thought. So it was about what I was expected. I think a lot of the rooms that didn't perform well, I was kind of expecting them not to perform well. I don't know that there was a ton of surprises for me personally. But I think, the rooms where there were depth, you saw a lot of good stuff. I thought there were a lot of defensive linemen flashed. Derek McClendon had a really nice game. I thought Matt Dickerson made some plays. He's someone that you've pointed out a couple times in recent weeks. He did some good things. I thought all three of the rookie defensive tackles had their moments in this game that were encouraging. You don't agree? I do. I spent a lot of time watching those guys. I thought they had their moments up and down, but they're rookies in their first preseason. And then I think you saw the depth at receiver. That was nice. Both Washingtons, I thought, made some good plays. Those guys are going to be your, third, fourth, fifth receiver. I think there's good depth in that room. And I thought you saw some good things from all four running backs as well. Obviously, Alexander Mattison left the game, but really nice catch and run on the play where he got hurt. You got touchdowns for.
Okay, hold on, let me interrupt here because this needs to be said. That injury, with all due respect, is on Quinn Ewers, because I don't know if you guys could see it well enough on the television, but in the press box from the angle I had, which was right behind the play, Quinn Ewers threw the pass to the left side to Alexander Mattison, when Pharaoh Brown is 15 yards behind him in the same line of vision, completely open. And for some reason, Quinn Ewers didn't spot him, threw underneath to Alexander Mattison, which was a good play, resulted in a 21-yard gain. But that should have been a walk-in touchdown for Pharaoh Brown. Ewers missed him, and he winds up getting injured. And I was saying, as I was saying earlier, I want to like micro it a little bit. Micro it, nice word, nice vocabulary there. I'm tired. I've been on traffic. I want to condense it to more specific areas and instead of doing like an all-around picture. Otherwise, we won't properly address it. And then the other injury is Elijah Campbell, based on what McDaniel said, which is how it looks from the press box and seeing him on the side in the second half. It looks like the Dolphins avoided a major issue there. So,
I mean, that's good. They're about to run out of fully healthy safeties pretty soon. They got guys coming in and out of the lineup, so that's good to hear. But I mean, my overall point was I think you just saw good things from all the running backs. At a certain point, Devon Achane averaged 7 yards per carry on his 3 carries. Jalen Wright had the nice little touchdown there in the red zone. Alexander Madison had his nice little run after the catch. He also scored down on the goal line. And I thought you saw a lot of pop from Ollie Gordon as well when he got into the game. So, rooms that have good depth, I thought that depth showed up a decent bit. Rooms that we have talked about on the show before that had questionable depth.
Like what? Dante.
Well, we can start with the offensive line. Not great behind the starting 5, and Larry Bohr had some not so great moments with the starting group as well. So I mean, player like Keon Smith just got absolutely blown up on the Quinn Ewers first fumble, and Quinn Ewers ball security is a whole other topic that we can talk about if we want to. We'll get to it, I'm sure. But I mean, Keon Smith just absolutely blown into next week right off the snap. I thought Jermaine Ifedi had like 4 or 5 plays where he was a huge problem, whether it was missing a block in pass protection or as a run blocker. Now, I mean, they just signed him. He could be getting back up to speed, but I don't think that it's not great. It didn't look good. I thought the interior backups were like a little bit better than the backup tackles. They didn't like stick out like a sore thumb to me. There was less like obviously blown plays from guys. And I thought Daniel Brunskill got some movement in the run game a couple times. So a bit more up and down from the interior, but like the tackles that were not named Patrick Paul, probably the worst performance of any group on the field in my estimation. So, and we can argue about that. I think it's close. There are some other groups that are going to push for that title, but overall, like I thought it was a very normal preseason game. I thought.
Okay. Let me jump in.
Yeah.
So we can. I want to point out Alexander Madison did drop a pass, very easy swing pass. However, he had somebody in his face. It wouldn't have gone anywhere, regardless. This is why I want to mention. Let's take care of the information first. Tyreek Hill didn't play. Jalen Waddle didn't play. Jalen Phillips didn't play. Mike McDaniel indicated afterwards he wanted to play all the starters, except that Phillips and Waddle were dealing with minor things, and there was no point in risking aggravation. With Jalen Waddle, McDaniel said specifically it happened during practice Friday. We can only imagine it happened when he got kind of hit in a practice where you weren't supposed to get hit. And then everybody else played. Tua had the 1 series, was very efficient. There was a lot of underneath stuff, but it was efficient. The numbers, like it's 4 for 5 for like 18 yards, and not overwhelming. No, but he was efficient. He converted the 4th down pass to Malik Washington, who looked very good. The return game kicked some butt. That was impressive.
Specialties might have been the best of the 3 phases. I don't know if you feel differently. I wrote that in my recap. I thought that they were great. The Bears, they held every Bears punt return to under 10 yards, and every kick return was 22 yards or less, and you get 20 for a touchback. So it's pretty good. It's not bad.
And they had long returns, one by Izukama, but one by AJ Henning at the end, and one by D. Eskridge. The one negative in the kicking game, and I don't know if Jason Sanders just shanked it or what, but you have to reach the opponent. What's his own 25, I think, and his ball landed like at the 35, and that gave the Chicago the ball at the 40-yard line. So, okay, I want to talk Zach Wilson, and a lot of fans were killing him on social media, and basically for kind of looking like a deer in headlights at times in the pocket, wasn't finding receivers open, hanging onto the ball, got sacked 4 times, including on 4th down. I asked specifically Mike McDaniel after the game, what were you seeing there? And he said he was very curious to look at the film to see if it was a case of Wilson not finding open receivers or what else. What did you make of Zach Wilson's performance?
I mean, this is the Zach Wilson experience. This is it. This is who he's been since he entered the NFL. He is a player who is addicted to holding the ball too long. He can't get away from it. And we know that he's consciously aware of this issue, because when he spoke to the media, I don't remember if that was during OTAs or early camp, but I remember we wrote a story about it. You can read it on dolphinsonsi.com. And Zach Wilson said, "Hey, I need to get rid of the ball faster. That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm focused on. That's what the coaching points are." And look, Mike McDaniel's right. We only have the TV angle. The offensive line wasn't great. There were a couple times where Wilson got sacked where he got quick pressure, but I felt like on those plays, the ball was designed to get out on his first hitch, and Zach Wilson did not get the ball out. So I think it's a scenario in which two things can be true. Zach Wilson can be holding the ball too long, and the blocking in front of him can also not be very good. And so I think when you combine those things, you end up with 4 sacks and 5 completions for Zach Wilson. I think he finished 5 of 9 on the day, if I'm not mistaken.
And 2 balls that he threw at the feet of tight ends who were wide open in the flat because he didn't put enough on it. It was ridiculous.
One of them was a touchdown if he just floated it to Tanner Conner as a walk-in touchdown. And so, I mean, I've never really been a believer in the Zach Wilson's, reclamation project. Today did not change my mind in any way. I think he is who he is at this point. To me, we'll see what the film says.
I don't disagree with you, but let's give props where props are due. He made 2, to me, big time throws. One of them was a completion down the field to the right side to Taj Washington as he was about to get pounded, and the pressure was coming from directly in front of him. So it's not like he couldn't see it. He knew he was going to get nailed, stood in there and made the beautiful floater right, and that was a big boy throw. And there was another one to D. Eskridge in the back of the end zone that he was very, very well covered, and he put it basically, there was one little window where he could fit it. That's exactly where he put it. Eskridge couldn't make the catch, but there was a DPI on the play, and that led to one of the touchdowns. But overall, like you mentioned, the two passes to the tight ends were like, oh, and then that's what he did with the Jets. That's why he took so many sacks. And the Jets' offensive line was like the Kennedy Expressway. It sucked. And then he's not helping them either. And it's like, to me, it's like you got to have an internal clock. One Mississippi to Mississippi. If you're not seeing anything, bail out, but don't stay in the pocket. I mean,
I mean, to me, it looked like, there were a couple times where it was a 2-step drop, get the ball out, right? And you could just see Zach freeze in the moment. The one sack that he took, I mean, he went to go through his first progression and it was covered, and he just never went to progression 2. And he got sacked. He just stood there and he was just frozen. And you can't have that at quarterback. You just can't. And that's always been a problem with Zach since he entered the league. And the Dolphins know it's a problem. Zach knows it's a problem. So far, I'm not seeing a lot of progress. There's still weeks of training camp and 2 more preseasons to go and joint practices. So we'll see. I agree with you. He made 2. He made a couple nice throws. I thought he had a nice rip in the middle of the field to. I forget. It was a little bit high, but anticipation was there. It was a decent throw. It was fine, but overall, not very impressed with Zach Wilson. But I don't think he was the worst Dolphins quarterback that took the field.
Really, though? Really? Because my thing is the numbers are putrid for Quinn Ewers, and there was bad ball security on the first fumble. The second one's 4th down. Like, who cares? The ball was going to be there anyway once he got sacked. The numbers were really bad. There were a couple of throws where the guys were just not open, and he's trying to fit it in there. I don't know that I had as many glaring mistakes on the quarterback from Quinn Ewers as I saw from Zach Wilson.
I mean, we're probably splitting hairs, right? Like, I don't really think either of us want to get up on a hill and defend either of these quarterbacks today. At least I know. Yeah, at least I know I don't. I think with Ewers, I'm a little bit more forgiving to Quinn because this is a player who's a 7th-round pick who's playing in his first NFL game. I understand if it's just like a little bit overwhelming for him. That doesn't really bother me. He's a 7th-round pick. He's a rookie. Like, I get it. He's not a veteran in this league. He missed his first throw. It was a wide open first down to Theo Weiss Jr. He just completely sailed it. No pressure in his face, clean pocket. The first fumble's poor ball security. You bring up a good point about the second fumble. It was 4th down anyway. the ball has to go somewhere. You can't. I'm sorry. Like you got to get the ball out. I know
that was quick pressure. That was really quick pressure, though.
Dude, it's it's cover zero pre-snap. Pick your best matchup and throw the football. It's 4th and 15. I'm sorry. Like but again, like he's a rookie. That's an easy teaching point. It's very easy to go, hey, dude, 4th and 15. They're showing you zero blitz before the snap. Just throw the ball up somewhere. Like take a shot, But ultimately, not the biggest deal in the world. I think for Quinn, to me, the bigger issue was just like accuracy. I thought he was inaccurate. There was a drop down the field. I thought I forget who he put a nice ball on a vertical route down the right sideline. Someone dropped it. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look it up.
I don't remember either.
But other than that, like I thought Quinn was just really inaccurate. I thought he missed some throws in the middle of the field, missed some throws out to the flat. The arm looked not very good to me. I didn't see a lot of drive on the ball. I didn't see a lot of velocity on the ball. There were some tight windows for sure. There's no doubt about that. Guys were corners were on those receivers. He's working with the AJ Henning, Theo Weises, Andrew Armstrongs of the world. So, I think obviously if guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are out there, those throws are easier for sure, 100%. But for Quinn, it's like he performed exactly how I would expect a 7th round rookie quarterback to perform playing with fellow third stringers. I'm not really surprised. And I think for the Dolphins, like, the backup quarterback position is what it is. I've been worried about it all offseason. I didn't really like the way that they addressed it. I didn't like the process with which they addressed it. And so far, it's not looking too great for either guy.
Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on Zach Wilson because again I see big boy throw, and it just may be that it's going to be like really, really inconsistent. Andrew Armstrong's one guy who had a drop in the middle of the field for Ewers. Trying to think here. Again, lineup note here for those interested in such things. Jonas Avainaya wound up playing the entire first half. He was the only offensive lineman. They started their current starting group of Patrick Paul, Jonas Avainaya, Aaron Brewer, James Daniels, Larry Borum. After the first series, Daniels and Brewers left. After the next series, Patrick Paul left. And then late in the second quarter, Borum left and Avainaya left for played the entire first half. You mentioned the defensive linemen and you liked all 3 rookies. I zoomed in, I should say, with the binocs on Jordan Phillips on several snaps. I'm sorry, but he was getting handled and was one-on-one. It wasn't like he was double teamed at the line. Like he's getting handled one-on-one. I mean, like way too easily. Kenneth Grant had a really nice sequence late in the second quarter where he had a passes batted down at the line of scrimmage where he chased down Travis Homer, former University of Miami running back, after a screen pass or whatever. And then he had a third down tackle, which was after they gained the first down. So I thought he did some good things. Thought the defense didn't look bad, but I'm trying to think of like guys who stood. And it was ironic too that Tyrell Dotson, and we'll get into that a little bit later before we attack viewer questions and comments. And again, I want to take a second here to apologize once again to you guys for making you guys wait. I appreciate you guys to no end, and love the fact that some people stuck it out, and a lot of you guys have stuck it out. That means a ton to me. Would even mean even more. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But again, this for sticking to it. Had you bailed, I would not have blamed you because it sucked. Anyway, my apologies one more time. So Tyrell Dotson made the first third down stop, which was interesting in light of what happened with Jordan Brooks, and both players addressed it in the locker room after the game. And 2 big brothers fighting, we love each other, and all that. That was all that. Mike McDaniel, I asked him as well, and he said basically what happened wasn't up to the Dolphins standards, but the players owned up to it. They apologized to their teammates, apologized to the team, and the Dolphins will be better for it in the long run. So, and anybody else stand out to you? Yeah, I know you mentioned the defensive lineman earlier. I'm trying to think on the second level or in the secondary.
Bonner had the nice play that created the interception. That was a good play. He closed on that window, got a hand on it, popped right to Patrick McMorris, probably the easiest interception he's going to get in his life. Honestly, I have a difficult time evaluating the secondary from watching TV. You probably had a better view of it than I did. I thought there was a lot of space for the Bears receivers.
At times, yeah.
Yeah, I was more so like that long third down conversion where Luther Burden beat Mike Hilton in the slot. I'd like to see that one from the all 22. I wasn't sure if that was a scheme thing or if Burden like actually just beat him in man. I wasn't really sure. I missed that. So not a great knee-jerk reaction, probably not the best showing for the Dolphins secondary, but I don't know that it was bad either, so we'll see.
And we should mention B.J. Adams is the one who was beat for the touchdown in the corner. But
that was a great throw.
Well, correct. This is one of those. The coverage was pretty damn good.
I agree.
A perfect pass.
Yeah.
And also should point out, and again, this is not me being a hater for the Dolphins' strong showing early on, but these are the facts. The Dolphins started a lot of their starters on offense and defense, and the Bears didn't. The Bears practically went with nothing but backups. So let's keep that in mind. It's not taking anything away. And this is where, of course, we got to bring up the first drive, which was efficient. Shocker, Mike McDaniel goes for it on 4th and 3, I think, from around midfield. Zero issue with that. Love that, especially since he knew going in he was playing the starters one drive, wasn't going to end it there with a punt from midfield. So love that. Easy completion to Malik Washington, who got open. And then they get down near the goal line. First and goal from the 8. Jalen Wright has a really nice run. 6 yards to the 2-yard line. Turnover on downs.
Yeah.
And then I'm scrolling social media when that happens, and here come the shots from national folks. Like, here we go again.
I mean, to be fair, like, could you have scripted a more ironic opening to the Dolphins preseason? They spend the entire offseason talking about how we got to fix short yardage. We're going to be tougher in the run game. And they come out and it's 4 straight runs and goal to go and they don't score. Like, it's funny. Like, I laughed, I chuckled. Like, it's just like that's the funniest possible way the season could start. But, Mike McDaniel mentioned post-game that he did that on purpose. He wanted them to get 4 straight runs in short yardage to get those reps, and I think that was the right decision. I do. I think that was correct.
I agree.
Yeah, and like they didn't get it, and you know what? I would have to pull up the numbers in front of me, and I'm sure the numbers for the game overall aren't great because of that sequence, but they punched in the following one. They had a rushing touchdown that was not in goal to go, or was it close? Jalen Wright's was like 5 yards out, maybe.
Correct.
Goal to go. So 2 goal to go rushing touchdowns later in the game. Ollie Gordon had a 3rd in short yardage later in the game. So, again, playing against backups with your own backups, blah, 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 blah. But, not the end of the world that they didn't score on that opening drive. Obviously, it's good to get those reps. They punched the other ones in later in the game. So, yeah, I mean, just a really ironic way to start. And I think they made the right decision just trying to rep that out and get those reps and have those things on tape. I think an easy one is the 3rd down one. I think that's a touchdown if Jonas Savania just connects. He whiffed on his block on the 3rd down play. And I think if he just connects, it's a touchdown, right? And that was an easy one. That was an easy fix. He just whiffed, right? So like the coaching point there is, hey, don't just like step into your guy, just make sure you make contact and it's touchdown, right? So easy fix, no need to overreact. It was really funny though. Like it's just,
I know it's like, yeah, and they're gonna take shots, and then, so it was a 24-24 tie. Again, as you mentioned, it's some good, some bad, and I'm looking at the box score over here to see if anything else really jumps out at me. If you look at the final numbers, 7 for 16 on 3rd down, which is actually pretty good. Penalties, Dolphins 10 for 16. Oh, I want to mention this, and I'm going to do this because I like doing this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pat myself on the back. You guys have been watching the All Dolphins podcast, you saw I pointed this out on Twitter because I had to, but I've mentioned this before. I watched Larry Borum at practice, and that dude is lining up too far back from the line. And if he gets a zealous official, he's going to get flagged. And lo and behold, the first snap of the game, and it was a nice run by Devon Achane over the left side. No, illegal formation, 79 offense. And spoiler alert, he did it a couple more times. I think the next series was like, he's doing it again, but they didn't call it. That's one of those where, I mean, he's going to have to hone in on it. It's like Jawan Taylor from the Chiefs would do it the entire season.
Yeah, and I do think it's a point of emphasis this year for the refs. So, like, they are going to try to call it more often, if I remember correctly, right? Like, every year the refs get a certain degree of rules that they are supposed to focus on a little bit more than usual, and I do think that is one this year.
No,
it's not.
Sorry to correct you, but the only reason I'm correcting you right now is because we had the media. Sorry, the media session with the officials that they produce every single training camp, where they bring in, they talk about the rule changes, and I literally asked a question: Has there been anything decreed as being a point of emphasis for 2025? And the answer was no. That's why
that would be the first time I can recall that happening. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, maybe he'll get away with it then. You don't have to worry about it.
Jawan Taylor got away with it for a whole year, and that has nothing to do
with a couple years.
Yeah,
a couple years for Jawan Taylor.
It has nothing to do with my Chiefs fatigue. Nothing at all. I just mentioned that out of the blue. So, anything else from the game? I'm trying to think here. Both guys punted for the battle, for the or battle, which Dante hates. Dante hates when they do or. But Jake Bailey, 59 yards on this punt.
Inside the 20 as well.
With an and a 9-yard return. That's a net of 50. That's record-breaking stuff. And Ryan Stonehouse, his punt was 50, and the return also was under 10. That's also a net of 40, which is you get that. That's really impressive. So that was good. Jason Sanders, 56-yard field goal, no problem, but he sucks because the guy from Jacksonville did 70 yards. So the hell's wrong with you, Sanders? I'm sorry, I'm joking. We were talking about that in the press box because at the end of the game, if you missed it, it's like both teams are 24-24. There's no overtime in the preseason, and each team traded possessions like around the 40-yard line because they went on fourth down and they kept missing. And we're like debating and thinking, how far are they going to let Sanders try a field goal? And the last Dolphins snap, I want to say, was from the 45 of the Bears or something like that. So you were looking at a 63-yard field goal.
Oh. I would have rather seen that than another Quinn Ewers snap. So we'll see. We'll see. What 63-yard field goal is exciting. That's pretty cool. I was pumped at the 70-yarder yesterday. That was sick.
Funny. Let me find it real quickly here. The exact. I'm gonna look at the game book. Find the exact yardage. It was fourth and 15 from the Chicago 45. So 63-yard field goal attempt.
Would have been exciting.
I think it would have been better shot of success than.
I agree. What were they gonna do? Like whatever. It's fine. Maybe next time.
That's fine. That's funny. What say you? We start tackling some of these your comments and questions. There we go. We're going to start with Garp Gump. Oh, Garp Gump. Okay. Thank you very much for the kind contribution, my friend. Alan, just a reminder, I said this team reminds me of the 1991 team. Let's sally this comparison forward as the season unfolds. Talking about the starters, of course. Continue to admire your work 36 years on. Oh, dude, much appreciated. Love that. The 1991 team. 1991 or 1990? 1991 team was the one that went. I'll get back to that one. 1991 team was the one that went 8-8. 1990 is the one that went 12-4 when the defense really blew up coming out of nowhere a little bit. And the Dolphins finished. No, they were a wild card in the AFC East because Buffalo was 13-3. Beat Kansas City in the first round of the playoffs. Lost against Buffalo in the divisional round. So I think maybe that's the one you're talking about because 91 was an 8-8 season and they lost out on making the playoffs, if memory serves, on a late field goal by the Jets in the season finale. Okay, here we go. Garb Gump again, thank you very much. I'm the 36-year-old long fan who mentioned this team reminds me of a ton of the 90 Dolphin squad. Very similar criticism of the team, yet similar adjustments toward bucking being finesse. 11 wins. I'll sign me up for that. Dante, you good with that? 11 wins?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think this defense has potential. I think, but as with everything with this team, the ceiling is interesting, but there are just an awful lot of question marks, and you have to avoid the injury bug. And you see injuries around the NFL in the preseason. That's going to happen, and you just hope you don't get nailed. Juan Vargas, thank you very much for the contribution. I am sorry, but Tua is the mannequin of the Dolphin. I'm not quite sure what that means, but okay. Noah, super sticker. Thank you very much, Noah. Much appreciated. Let's move on over here. If I go to the top of the comments when I was massively late, it's probably not going to be very good. Biggers look great. Biggers look good. Oh, Darren, I want to say something about Darren McLendon because somebody here, Ballaholic, is saying McLendon looked good. That roughing the passer penalty or unnecessary roughness penalty he had, bogus. Completely bogus. Sorry. What the hell was that? What's the flag for? Did you see the play?
It's preseason for the refs too.
Did you see the play? Remember the play?
Look, I've had a problem with the freaking unnecessary roughness calls for a couple of years now. I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 a week that are just like, what are we doing? It's been a trend in the league for a couple of years now. I didn't think that was roughing, but I'll be honest, when he made the play, I thought they were going to call it because that's where they're at. They call those now, which is absurd. They do, though. How many of those goals do we get?
I don't disagree with you, but it's like, but usually they do it if it's a big name quarterback. And I'm sorry, but was it Tyson Bagent?
It's either him or Keenum. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then if it's Case Keenum. Oh, sorry. I know, rude on my part. Sorry. Yeah, and I had to be corrected because I called him Bagent at first. I was told it was Bagent. So, the Bagent agent.
Tyson Bagent.
Agent. There you go. That's how I'm going to remember. The Ewers fans are pretty solid, I would imagine. Yep. Hill, Waddle, NWI, Washington Bros, and Easy. That's my 6. Cody,
do they keep 6?
Maybe, but if they do right now, I'm sorry. I think Izukama gets beaten out by D. Eskridge.
Yeah,
I guess right now.
I would agree. And I think Eskridge did some nice things in the return game too, which matters. And Izukama did too, to be fair. He also had a good return. So probably an interesting battle, but yeah, I'd probably lean Eskridge as well, if they keep 6.
Garb Gump, I was goofy with my initial message, kind of like Zach Wilson standing flat-footed with no words in the pocket. That's fine.
That's pretty funny.
The second super chat message was delivered with a quick release off my back foot. Well done. Well done.
There we go. That was a good
one.
But
I remember what your point that you had made earlier, because I swear on my 2 children that I was talking about you. Maybe he's thinking about the 90 team before I actually saw it. So I wasn't like I read it secretly, and then I'm going to show him how smart I am. No. Jeff, hey Jeff, I don't know if either of you saw it, but T-Stead had a practice video breaking down everything he saw in one-on-ones and what he liked, disliked. It was very interesting. I don't know if you mean a video about the joint practice. Yes, I listened to all of it. And in fact, if you read MiamiDolphins.com, you will see that I wrote a story about what Tehran said about the Tyreek Tua relationship, as well as the Jake Mendel story on Take 2. Jordan Brooks emerging as a leader with Tehran's quote about what happened. In fact, because he's the first one who kind of revealed that what happened was that Jordan Brooks was mad that Tyrell Dotson strictly thudded a Bears running back on a 3rd down play as opposed to hitting him and basically putting him to the ground the way the Bears defenders were doing against the Dolphins. And Dotson said after the game today that he was going by what the rules were supposed to be. And so let me ask you this. I mean, you've read everything that there would have been to be read. Do you blame the Dolphins for doing it the way that it was supposed to be, which is it was supposed to be thudding, no live tackling, where the Bears kind of took liberties? One guy ran through Jalen Waddle on a screen. The guy clubbed the top of the helmet of Izukama on a pass over the middle. And there was another one involving may have been Devon Achane. Tua wound up getting hit twice. So where do you stand on the Dolphins? Should have done the same thing, or Bears suck for not living up to the rules?
I think it's a tough one because from my outsider perspective on this, it's very easy for me to say, hey, the Bears were not following the rules. Nobody wants to get hurt in a joint practice on both sides. Like, both teams really should be looking out for each other in that vein, right? Like, they should be. However, I was an athlete. I was competitive. If I was in the Dolphins' shoes and I saw them thudding my guys, they're not thudding my guys, they're hitting my guys, they're putting them in the ground, I'm going to hit somebody. I get it. I really do. I understand both sides. I do. I understand Terrell Dotson saying, hey, I'm not trying to get anybody hurt. I'm trying to do the rules. That's totally fine. I get it. I also understand why Jordan Brooks was, in general, upset and losing his patience and wanting to, ask his teammates to be a little bit more physical and match the physicality that the Bears were giving them on the other side. So to me, it's kind of tough. I get it. I think one of the reasons I didn't overreact to the fight in the first place is because these things happen in these practices. These guys get really fired up and competitive. I understand where Jordan Brooks was coming from, right? He's tired of watching his guys get popped and they're not popping back. And what is the prevailing narrative with the Dolphins? They're not tough, right? Like, that's the label they're trying to shed. Whether that's fair or not, we could do a whole podcast on that. That's the label that they have, and they're trying to shed it. So I understand where Jordan Brooks is coming from. I don't really have a problem with it either way. It seems like both guys, were fired up. They had a conversation about it. You talked to them in the locker room. Mike McDaniel commented on it. It seems like it's all good. I think it's water under the bridge, if you will.
And for me, the important point is, was Tyrell Dotson at that time aware that the Bears were not playing nice? And if you weren't, because I played sports all my life as well, and trust me, if I'm aware that you're doing that to my guy,
right,
Mr. Bears running back, you catch a pass, I'm nailing you.
Yeah. And
then you want to come at me, bring it, because then sorry, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for us. So anyway, Let's move on. Douglas Anderson says McClendon was possibly the best defensive player. Willie Gay, ballaholic. Willie Gay was everywhere. Willie Gay was given half a sack after giving the full sack. And if we're going to be honest about it, Benito Jones is the one who made the play, because he got the pressure, forced Mr. Bajent up in the pocket, and Willie Gay cleaned up.
So, agreed.
Shout out Bonner, Duck, Jack, and Isaiah Johnson. Yes, Jack Jones had a couple of decent plays. Isaiah Johnson was involved in the fourth down play, and it's one of those, had great coverage. Should have been defensive pass interference, but wasn't called.
I think Austin Reed should have thrown a good pass. How about that? My other huge pet peeve is underthrown DPI. Enough. I'm tired of it. Stop rewarding these quarterbacks for underthrowing the ball. I'm glad I didn't throw the flag.
Okay, hold on.
Stop it.
Okay, that's fine. But okay, now tell me, come back to me when it's Tyreek Hill who's the receiver and it's an opposing DB who does that. Tell me
if it's underthrown, my opinion is going to be the same. If it's a bad throw, my opinion is not going to change. I'm very consistent on this. I cannot stand it. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. Constantly rewarding quarterbacks for throws that are 5 yards. What do you want the DB to do?
Turn and look at the ball. That's what I want the DB to do.
Sometimes you can't, though, especially when it's that underthrown. What was Isaiah Johnson going to do? The guy's running past him. He had a step on him. If that's a good throw, it's a completion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so he's going to grow eyes in the back of his head and turn around. You know how hard it is to turn around when you're not in phase? It's incredibly difficult.
I understand that, but if he's looking at the receiver, this is where you pick up clues from the receiver that the ball's coming, whether it's the look on the guy or some receivers will not good at this, will bring up the hands.
Right. Well, you have to play through the hands. You don't turn around in that scenario. You play through the hands. You try to stick your hand in when they go up.
Right? The risk you run is if you're running at full speed and the pass is underthrown and the receiver starts breaking to adjust for the ball, and the rule is clear. I mean, we may not like it. The rule is clear. You can't run through a receiver on a ball that's underthrown because he's stopping and you keep running into him.
No, they could have thrown the flag and it would have been DPI by the rule. I just hate the rule. I think it's terrible. And I will be very consistent on that all year, even if it's Tua underthrowing Tyreek Hill and they, it's terrible. Like, I don't understand. These corners have no chance. No chance.
Yeah, you're right. The rules are good for the Jeff, I love you, my friend. I'm going to have to disagree with you here. Because Jeff is saying that fade in the end zone was rough. The corner got burned and he knew it. Felt bad. Adams, yeah, that's pretty damn good coverage. I'm sorry.
I thought so too. That was a great throw. That might be one of the best throws Case Keenum's made in his whole career. That was a great throw.
Even back to high school, probably.
Yeah, that was a great. And Case Keenum's had a long career. He's had some success in the league. That was a great throw. That was a dime. I mean, a great elite offense is always going to be good defense. It just is. The quarterback, if they can put the ball in a position where you can't get to it, you can't get to it. At the end of the day, you could be in as good position as you want to be in. Stuff like that's going to happen. I don't blame BJ Adams for that one at all. I mean, maybe he got beat off the line or whatever, but he got back into the picture. He was right there. Really good throw. It happens.
I agree. And as my father used to say, the other team gets paid too. I have to put this very random, has nothing to do with the Dolphins, but sure, I'll put it up. Brian says, you have great hair, Poop. Aw, thanks, dude. Thank you. Is that your subtle way of trying to tell me that you don't want me to wear the Expos hat? I have gel on right now. Generally, don't wear gel. And if I don't have gel, it's a little bit crazier. Not as crazy as when I was in like a high school senior where my hair was all poofy like this. It's not a pretty sight, I promise you. Interesting take here. Grant was anticlimactic. He's a project like Christian Wilkins. Very interesting take.
I don't know about you.
I didn't mind this game at all today. Actually, I thought it was okay.
I thought it was fine. I really did. I think if you expected Grant to come out and like be this pass rushing savant, like that's just not who he is right now. So that really didn't surprise me. I'll be curious to go back through the all 22 and just see like rep to rep, was he creating push? Was he creating movement? But I thought the plays that he did made, he looked good. And the plays where I tried to focus on him and not worry about what else was going around, I saw a player who was strong and it was stout, generally speaking. And so I think that's what you're going to get out of Kenneth Grant, at least in the first half of his rookie season. I don't know that he's going to be this, box scorer guy who's going to put up a bunch of sacks and a bunch of QB pressures. I think he might get credit for a QB hurry or a QB pressure in this game. He might. The play was kind of close. We'll see. I didn't check if they put those up yet or not, but
I don't know. I will tell you right now.
How about that?
How about
it was close.
Kenneth Grant, who was credited with 2 tackles to assists, 1 pass defense. There you go.
All right, so no QB hurry. It was close. It was on the fence.
QB hurry, sorry, no.
No QB hurry. Okay, it was close. So I mean, I thought Grant was okay in the snaps that I watched where he was on the field and I was focusing on him. I didn't see anything to make me think that he's a project, because I feel like project implies like player has a long way to go, and I don't feel that way about Kenneth Grant. He has areas in which he can improve for sure. He's not a finished product, but I don't know that I'd call him a project.
But here's the point again. We need to say this, and somebody in the chat mentioned it way earlier. Dolphins we're not going against the Bears starting offensive line, which now has some players on it after their off-season shopping spree. I want to mention one player I forgot to mention who was kind of active and was sent on the blitz quite a bit. And I think there may be something there if that's how the Dolphins want to use him. When they do use him, which I think will still be sporadically, that's Channing Tindall. But Noel, my friend Noel, how are you, buddy? Thank you so much for the contribution. Appreciate it. I thought the game as a whole wasn't bad. Obviously work to do, but don't feel like the sky is falling. Thanks for the live after game show. Absolutely. And I plan on doing this this thing right here after every game. I promise you guys it will run more smoothly. This was a one-off. And did I mention the Kennedy Expressway? Noah with a super sticker. Thank you, Noah. Appreciate it. Let's go toward the bottom here. We're probably going to run about an hour or so, depending on what we get in terms of comments and questions and all of that good stuff. Let's see what we got here. Jim, in fairness, is Zach Wilson, I believe, on one of the passes to the tight end in the flat. It was poor play design where he was running to his left and had to throw across his body, which always affects accuracy. Sorry, Jim. And I've not been shy about praising Zach Wilson for his work in training camp. Sorry, that was as easy a throw as it could be. Yes, it was rolling to his left, and he didn't need to be accurate. He needed to be in the same zip code as Tanner Connor, and it was a walk-in touchdown, and he flubbed it.
Yeah, no, there's no getting around that one. That's as easy as they come. Those are the easy ones. That's what they call it in golf, a gimme, right? That's like the official turnout. It's a gimme for Zach Wilson. You got to make that throw.
Yep, no, I agree. Wobson salted. Washington squared look good. Yeah, Malik Washington is set. There's never been an issue about him being on the 53. I think Taj Washington has looked very, very good throughout training camp. Probably, I didn't know much ton about him, to be honest with you, because we didn't see him very much last year before he wound up on IR. So, strong work.
The Bears played so much man coverage in this game off the top of my head, especially early in the game. Tosh is going to separate against those guys very easily. That's his whole thing. That's the whole shtick. Malik and Tosh. Teams are going to throw a lot of man coverage at the Dolphins, which I frankly would not anticipate when the full offense is on the field. But Tosh is going to win those battles a lot, right? Like the big one that he had from Zach Wilson, that was off the TV broadcast looked like a zero blitz with man behind it. Like Tosh is going to be third string slot cornerback every time. That's his game. That's where he excels. So it's good to see him show up for sure. He needs it because it's going to be a really tough battle at the bottom of the receiver room.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Hill, Waddle, Malik Washington, NWI. I don't want to say they're locks, but pretty close. And then, again, it depends whether they keep 5 or 6. Last year, they kept 4 at the beginning, I believe, memory serves. But I think 2 years ago at one point, they had 6. So it's 4, 5, or 6. I would be surprised if it was 4 because I think they have more options, more good options this year. We got Devin, ATL. Thank you, sir. Do you think Waller will be activated from the PUP list this week? Would be nice, right? Holy moly. And we keep asking. We asked him last week, and I'm trying to remember what his answer was.
He said it was coming soon, but the joint practice schedule made things tough. Okay. Yes, is what he said. So,
and like I said before, I mean, the guy's completely ripped. And I had somebody on here in the comments. By the way, I read the comments. I reply to some of them. Some of you guys, I like most of the comments, even those who disagree and all that. Those who call names or are condescending, seriously, do better. But I think, Waller's coming. It's again, how do you get into football shape if you're not playing? Again, he's ripped. He's got the conditioning because he was doing that stuff. Okay, so what's missing? I don't know. And he doesn't have to do every single rep when they do joint practices. So,
yeah,
I don't know. What do we have there? Oh, that personal foul at the end of the game when the Dolphins stopped the Bears was a bunch of bull. If you're talking about the personal foul on Eugene Asante, the rookie free agent linebacker, it's a pretty high hit. It's one of those. That to me was more of an automatic flag than the one on Derek McClendon. I'm going to be honest about
that. I missed it on Asante. I was writing the gamer for the story, so I missed that one. But the McClendon one was not good. That was bad. That was a bad call. So
yeah, and this one was I'm not ready to say it was the right call, but it was a high hit. And from my vantage point, it looked like the second that the play happened, here comes the flag. So, yeah. Sam Gladstone, we don't have a tush push. That is correct.
It'd be nice.
Remember, they had not a tush push, but they had a quarterback sneak when Jacoby Brissett was the backup. Jacoby Brissett's a big dude. But then Skylar Thompson was a big dude, but while he had size, I don't know that Skylar Thompson is somebody I would call strong physically. Jacoby Brissett's a big dude and strong. Mike White certainly wasn't strong.
They should try the tight end sneak.
There you go. By the way, you mentioned. I apologize for cutting you off there. You mentioned tight end, and we're talking about tush push and all that, and maybe try the tight end. Dolphins did that at times with Durham Smythe, and I bring that up because he was on the other side today, and he failed to come up with a very catchable pass at one point.
Yeah, they should do it again. Do it with Julian Hill. I don't know. To me, there's like no excuse to not have some version of a sneak in today's NFL. Like teams have been innovative. Like it seems like a ridiculous thing to say, but like there's been legitimate innovation on the quarterback sneak in the last 3 years. Use a tight end, use a big receiver, a big running back. If you can't, you don't want to get too under center and push them into a pile. I get it. I'm not interested in seeing that either. No. You have other options though. Other teams around the league are doing this stuff. Do that. It's silly. It's not hard to do. Julian Hill can take a snap and push. He'll be fine. I promise.
Yeah, except I remember. Oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get some hate here. But I remember him fumbling near the goal line last year, 2 years ago.
Well, it's different. Was it in a pile? Like we need him to get like.
But it was a fumble, and you see
him to get 6 inches in a cloud of dust here. All right, that's it.
I've also seen him drop a lot of balls and easy passes and training.
All right, make it Pharaoh Brown. I'm not dying on the Julian Hill.
Sold. Okay, I'll take that one. Interesting here, pretty boy. FPV. We need to get more starters for the O-line. Why not get Wynn and a couple of others should be starters and have them as rotational pieces? Isaiah Wynn, Chris Greer's comment was very interesting when we asked about Isaiah Wynn. I think it was at the pre-draft press conference where I think the question I remember if they tried re-signing him, I think how the question was phrased. And he basically said he went for free agency and that was it. It wasn't totally explained, but it was kind of like the interpretation of it from all of us was like that ship has sailed. The bridge has been lifted. There's no going back. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what happened. Isaiah Wynn, if you notice, hasn't signed with any other team. And by the way, this is the part as chronicled on Miami Dolphins on SI.com. If you check out the website, you already know this. Duke Riley signed with Washington on Sunday, and Jeff Wilson Jr. signed with the 49ers. But Isaiah Wynn has not signed with anybody, and I don't know what his physical status is. I know it took him a hell of a long time to come back from the injury he sustained against the Eagles in 2023. And then last year when he did come back, he was rotating with Liam Eichenberg. So I don't know what his deal is going on here, but I don't foresee an Isaiah Wynn reunion. Although, to me, he joins the roster, and if he's right physically, he's immediately the best backup interior offensive lineman on the roster.
Yeah, that might be fair, but I don't know if Isaiah Wynn's played, more than 10 games in 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep bagging on the Dolphins. Not you, in general, the general public. You cannot keep banging on the Dolphins for all their injury-prone players and then go, why don't we sign Isaiah Wynn?
Good point.
Oh, fix it. Another injury-prone offensive lineman. Good job. Like if they sign Wynn, I'm not going to be like, terrible signing. But what are we doing? Hey, we can't keep being like, they have all these injury-prone players, and the offensive line's not very good. Let's go sign an injury-prone player who we probably have better medical information on than any of the other teams because he was on our team last year.
Yep.
It's not doing it for me. I'm sorry.
Very good point. Jefe, 305. Should have won an all trade, free agent, and drafted for quality O lineman. Signing worst rated offensive lineman is not the answer. Broom, Brunskill, and Ifedi.
I mean, I would just simply trade for good players. I would just simply do that. Why didn't they think of that? That's crazy. That's what I would have done. I agree with the latter point. Like,
no, I don't disagree, but it's like again, I'm having a hard time. Yeah, I mean, they.
You're right. They should have, but
I don't know that there were great options at tackle. To be honest with you, there were
some. Could have got Laremy Tunsil back.
Yeah,
he was the best tackle move this offseason.
Okay. I don't think they had the financial wherewithal in terms of the cap space to do it. No. But definitely. Sure, yeah. Let's address this. Cody, I think they call 4 straight runs to see what right looks like in goal line situations. It also was the first team offensive line. I think they want to see what those guys look like.
Yeah, they want to see what everybody looked like. Right? Like, that was the whole point of that. We have most of the starting line on the field. We have Jalen Wright, who might be the first man up in short yardage. here's 4 straight reps. Let's go get it. Then we're going to go back and watch that in the tape next week, and we're going to try and fix it. So I think you're right. That's exactly what they want to do, and they're smart. They should keep doing it all preseason. Keep running it.
I agree. Here's my answer here, Dave. Relax. A lot of backup offensive linemen will be available when cuts are made, including veterans. Here's the thing, Dave. What kind of quality offensive linemen are you expecting to get when they get cut by another team when the entire league is looking for offensive line depth? Good luck. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying counting on finding a quality offensive lineman who's been cut by his original team when this is such a precious commodity. Okay.
Very rare. Very rare.
And by the way, I'm very, very relaxed. Thanks for your concern. Because this is very enjoyable. I enjoy doing this. This is somebody not relaxed. When you use all caps, that's not relaxed, my friend. You try this exercise. You bring your two like this. You do. Whoop, there we go. Oh, sorry. I digress. I hate those stupid sweep runs. If memory serves, those worked out pretty well with Achan early on. I think somebody else might have had a good run like that. I don't know that those runs do poorly on a regular basis. So
I think one of them was for minimal gain, and then 2 were like pretty solid gains. It was like a 2 out of 3 success rate, if I'm not mistaken. So not bad.
B. McD. They also said they were going to flag more cheat motions. No, they didn't.
No, that was a made-up story by another outlet that confused everybody.
Yeah, and it was last year, and no, they didn't.
Yeah.
And I remember, and this is something I don't know why the Dolphins have stopped doing it because it was very successful in 2023. And there are a lot of times when Tyreek would get just a little bit of a head start at the snap, and they weren't calling it. So they're not calling it. It's perfectly fine, right? Agent Navy, Eugene Asante, Derek McClendon, and Daquan Jackson all played very well. Which one do you think makes a 53-man roster? If I'm going to be honest with you, none. You?
I don't. Jackson and Asante, no chance. I mean, if McClendon really shines, but I'd be shocked. Like it would be like legitimately surprising. I think they try to practice squad him for sure, and they'll try to pad him. They'll try to put him on the practice squad, I think. But that edge room, you need guys who are going to contribute on teams and in the running game a little bit. And I think you're going to get that more from Cameron Good and Quinn Bell for those depth edge players. But we'll see. Oh,
you're like me. So because I'm having a debate with another Dolphin media member whose name rhymes with Bromar Belly. And the debate is Cameron Good versus Grayson Murphy, and I'm telling you Cameron Good makes the team over Grayson Murphy because to me I think he's a lot more assignment sound and he contributes on special teams. Grayson Murphy had a 2-play sequence that to me shows the ceiling and also the concern. And the ceiling is if you saw the play, he didn't bite on a play fake, came straight into the QB, boom, sack, he's down. And he's got those pass rushing instincts, but that's what he is. First and foremost, and second most is a pass rusher. And there was another play where he went really, really hard. There was a running back leaking out of the backfield right next to him where savvy veterans would recognize, oh, they're throwing a screen right over here. And he didn't, and he just full blast to the quarterback, allowing for a very easy completion and a healthy gain for the offense.
Yeah. Do you worry about having an extra pass rusher in that room with the injury history of Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips? Because that, to me, that's the argument for keeping Grayson Murphy. It's like, hey, we're going to keep a 6th receiver on teams, and we're going to keep Murphy as the 4th edge rusher because we're going to need pass rush juice if Phillips and Chubb go down. That's the only because I don't know I think they'd like to keep Murphy in an ideal world. It's just, can you find a spot for him, right? So I don't that would be my concern in that room is because I think Quentin Bell's a perfectly fine depth edge player. You don't really want him as like your pass rusher opposite Chop Robinson consistently. He can play and he's a good player. Like I think you keep Quentin Bell for sure, but I think you'd rather have Grayson Murphy in pass rushing situations in the event that they have some injuries in that room. So,
no, you make a valid point, and maybe they wind up keeping 6 edge defenders.
maybe, yeah.
But this is what we're talking about. Are they keeping 6 wide receivers? This is where there's going to be give and take throughout the roster at some point.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so this is going to come down to who they prioritize. Okay, you know what? We have reached the 1 hour mark, and I got one more. I gotta take care of my people who contribute. I will always acknowledge you guys, and this is much appreciated. Garb Gump, thank you, sir. 1990 and 2025, Miami mirror each other. Small, explosive wide receivers, Duper, Clayton, 5'9", Hill, Waddle, 5'10". Timing QBs with fast releases, Marino, Tua, and youth on the left side of the O-line. More to follow. I don't think Marino and Tua are exactly the same.
I knew that.
I knew that was coming.
I knew that was going to be the first place that you went.
But I'm not even talking about quality of quarterback or passer. I'm not going there. I'm talking about in terms of playing style. Marino had a fast release, and so does Tua. Marino threw down the field a whole lot more, and it wasn't so much of like anticipation and rhythm and I'm not going to say spot throwing, because spot throwing, I was thinking about that the other day. I need to say this very, very delicately. If you're running a 5 yards and cutting to the outside and I'm throwing where you're going to be, I'm throwing to that spot. If you're running a curl and I'm throwing where you are, even though I'm not, if you know I'm not throwing ahead of you, I'm throwing where you are. I'm still throwing to that spot where you are. So isn't every single solitary throw a spot throw? I mean, seriously.
Well, sure, technically,
Okay,
yeah. If you want to take the very literal definition of the term, yeah, I guess every throw is technically a spot throw. Sure, yeah.
But it's like I get the meaning is basically throwing to where your receiver is going to be. And again, there are certain fans who make it seem like this is some sort of like novel 2075 idea. Like, I mean, this is not something, anything that's not been done over and over and over again. I mean,
what's novel about the way the Dolphins do it is that they push it vertically. Not so much last year. Historically, under Mike McDaniel, they push those concepts vertically more than offenses have in the past. Historically, last year they didn't do that as well, and that was a big reason that the offense was. And I don't even mean like vertically, like 20 yards down the field. I'm talking about Tyreek Hill will run, instead of a typical spot throw being a 7-yard curl, Tyreek Hill's so fast that becomes a 12-yard in cut, right? And like that's the novel part, not a quarterback that throws with anticipation. Quarterback's been throwing with anticipation for 100 years, and they're going to keep throwing with anticipation for another 100 years. The novel part is how you build that into the offense to maximize the speed that you have at receiver and the accuracy to throw the ball into those windows that you have at quarterback, right? And that's the novel part of it. So, yeah.
Okay. On that note, that is going to wrap it up. Gone a little bit past an hour. Again, my apologies for the delay. Thank you so much for joining and hanging on, those who were there when it was supposed to start. Please like, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this. He is Dante Collinelli, deputy editor of Miami Dolphins on SI. You know who I am. Find our work at MiamiDolphinsOnSI.com. As for the upcoming schedule, I am not quite sure. The Dolphins are scheduled to be off tomorrow. Let's say at this time, I do not plan on doing a podcast. Take a little bit of a break. Check your notifications. I'll put it on social media, but we will be back at some point sooner rather than later, and we'll be doing this again after the game against the Lions next Saturday. In the meantime, again, thanks everyone for watching, and have a great rest of your evening.